Hello, my name is Regina Gibbs. I am currently studying nursing administration at Liberty University. My goal today is to ask Representative Rosa L. DeLauro to co-sponsor the Family and Medical Insurance Leave Act, which will soon be introduced in the 116th Congress. At some point, virtually all working people will need time away from a job to meet caregiving responsibilities or recover from a serious illness or injury. Unfortunately, access to paid family and medical leave, which would allow them to do so without risking financial security, is very rare. Each year, working families in the United States of America lose an estimated $20 billion in wages due to lack of access to paid family and medical leave. Only 17% of working people have paid leave through their employers, and fewer than 40% have personal medical leave. It's becoming more and more common for workers to have no paid sick leave, and when they fall ill, they have to choose between going to work and taking unapproved leave. Workers may even feel uncomfortable asking for sick days for fear of being fired. Through the bill H.R. 1185 Family Act, all workers will have guaranteed leave without fear of repercussions. The Family Act would create an affordable, inclusive, comprehensive national paid family and leave program. The Family Act will provide workers with a portion of their wages for up to 60 workdays or 12 weeks in a year. It would help meet the needs of new parents and people with serious personal or family health issues. This time will also be used to address an individual's own health condition, help with serious health conditions of a parent, spouse, domestic partner, or child. Under the Family Act, employees contribute a small amount from each paycheck into an insurance fund. These benefits are available to private sector workers as well as self-employed individuals. Public employees will also pay into the Family Act's benefits. The Family Act is modeled after paid leave programs that are already working well in California, New Jersey, and New York. In today's society, the use of sick leave is also often associated with a lack of effort. There's undoubtedly a stigma associated with individuals calling out from work. Lower absence rates are associated with an increased chance of promotion the following year and decreased possibility of being fired. The United States is the only industrialized country besides Canada and Japan that does not offer universal access to paid sick leave. Paid leave gives employees the ability to call in sick from work and still receive payment. A study conducted in 2011 showed that a third of U.S. full-time employees lacked sick leave coverage. There are multiple reasons why an employee would need to take an extended period of leave. It's not always just that they are ill. Many times workers have extenuating circumstances occurring in their life. It's possible that the worker may need to take time off to care for ailing parents, spouses, or children. It's extremely common that when humans have extra stressors occurring in life, they are not able to perform other tasks wholeheartedly. Workers can be very easily distracted by their own health concerns and the concerns of their immediate family members. With the passing of this bill, workers will become eligible to receive sick leave to care for not only themselves but also their family members. Returning to work after significant improvement in health is not synonymous with being fully recovered from an illness. It's very typical for an individual to return to work before being fully healed because of financial purposes. Is it actually ethical to have employees return to work without being fully recovered just so that they can be financially stable? Also, if an ill person returns to work prematurely, there's an increased risk of injury. It is also a concern that they may have a decreased job performance. This can possibly result in disciplinary action being taken against the worker. In the worst case scenario, they could even be terminated. When a person is in the prime of their career, it usually puts them at an age where they have elderly parents. It's important to note that between the years of 2017 and 2060, the U.S. will have an increase in the elderly population. Studies show that the 65 and older age group will rise from 15 to 24%. With this being said, it's not uncommon for family members to take on the role of caregiver for their parents or their in-laws. There are a variety of tasks that family members can perform for their elderly parents. These include grocery shopping, helping around the house, meal prep. It can also include helping their parents use the bathroom, hygiene, and sometimes even feedings and changings. While all of this occurs, it's important to note that the family is performing all these tasks on top of having a full-time job. It's estimated that these tasks can take an extra 20 hours of work per week. This extra burden can have tremendous negative impacts on the caregiver. It's reported that 17% of caregivers feel that their health in general declined as a result of their caregiving responsibilities. Workers who leave the workforce to care for an aging parent can lose more than $300,000 in income and retirement savings. It can be incredibly hard to choose between being financially stable and being able to provide for a loved one that needs your assistance. The Bible says, "Bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ." Many people are bearing the health burdens of their loved ones as God has called them to do. While they're performing these pleasing acts unto the Lord, there should be policies in place to make it easier for them. This law is not only beneficial for adults caring for their elderly parents, but it's also beneficial for mothers who are breastfeeding. Breastfeeding has tremendous benefits for infants, such as decreased risk of sudden infant death syndrome, asthma, diabetes, and obesity. It also has many health benefits for mothers. Breastfeeding mothers have a reduced risk of developing breast and ovarian cancer. The U.S. has been shown to have early cessation of breastfeeding, and one reason is that is consistently identified as the reason is the mother's return to work. California was one of the first states in the U.S. to implement paid family leave. Breastfeeding was then increased 10 to 20% for the first 3, 6, and 9 months. Mothers were no longer forced to choose between breastfeeding their child and fear of being financially stable. Without paid sick leave, Americans are also more likely to dismiss preventive health care. Studies show that individuals without access to paid leave are significantly less likely to use preventive health services such as getting a pap smear, a mammogram, testing for colon cancer, and even the flu shot. This can potentially lead to the individual needing more medical assistance in the future. A national paid family and medical leave program like the Family Act has strong support from voters across party lines. 8 in 10 voters support a comprehensive, inclusive, sustainably funded national medical family and leave law modeled on the Family Act, including 74% of Republicans, 83% independents, and 94% of Democrats in a nationally representative survey. When asked to rank 4 paid leave proposals, voters across party lines rated the Family Act as the top choice. It appears as though most individuals are in favor of this bill. However, there is potential for an individual to not be in favor. Workers with no immediate family and excellent health may feel that it is unnecessary for them to contribute to this plan. I, however, am in complete favor of passing this bill. I was in my final semester of nursing school when my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was an incredibly challenging time. I had to watch her undergo chemotherapy and continue working. There were days that she said she was only able to sit at her desk and rest her head. She would complain because she wasn't able to complete any of the necessary tasks for her job. This is a major reason that this law would be beneficial to the employer. If an ill employee is forced to work, they are not able to give the job their full attention. Fortunately, my mother was blessed to have multiple co-workers donate some of their sick days to her. With their help, she was still able to have that she could take off and still be compensated. Life can be very challenging, and it does not stop just because you have fallen ill. My father was also had to continue working while my mother was ill. He is a truck driver, and he just was not able to take time off to care for her. And when he was not able to be paid because he is self-employed. This put our family in a very difficult state financially. By the grace of God, my mother is now healed and completely well. This was an extremely difficult period in my life and the lives of my family members. I believe that this bill would have been completely beneficial to us during this time. My mother would have been able to take time off of work and still be compensated. Also, my father would have been able to take time off of work to care for my mother instead of having to work and worry about her at the same time. I believe that this bill would also reduce the amount of employees that go to work when ill. A lot of times employees have to go to work and they don't complete their jobs and their tasks in a standard that their employers like, and this could also lead to termination. It appears as though low-wage workers, part-time workers, and self-employed workers are mainly the ones that fall victim to not having paid leave. With this being said, these individuals are at an increased risk of developing serious health issues. For instance, not having paid sick leave is associated with lower likelihood of workers to get their influenza vaccine. One study found that individuals with paid sick leave have a 42% higher chance of receiving the seasonal influenza vaccination. Paid sick leave also allows individuals to have allotted time to attend a doctor's appointment and receive necessary treatment for illnesses. If an employee does not have this time available to them, they can skip it altogether. The spread of influenza is very prevalent in the workplace. Staying home can greatly reduce the spread of infection and help control an outbreak. The more people that fall ill to various illnesses has a direct impact on nurse aides. If a patient is hospitalized or an outbreak happens, nurses are at the forefront of their treatment. Having an outbreak in a specific area can lead to nurse burnout. I highly recommend this bill. The only reason I could see this bill being tweaked in any kind of way is just for the individual that has no family and no illnesses. However, this bill only works if everybody contributes. If not everyone contributes, the cost would just be too great for everyone else. That is why it is mandatory for everyone, regardless of family situations, to contribute. This bill should be passed in its current form. There are no pressing or clear revisions that should be made at this time. The H.R. 1185 Family Act would benefit millions of Americans. They would no longer have to bear the burden of choosing between their health and the health of their family members and financial stability. The Bible says, "Do not merely look out for your own personal interests, but also for the interests of others." Family members are going out of their way to care for their families as the Lord has called them to do. While they are looking out for the best interests of their families, it would be great to see that employers are looking out for them in return. Paid sick leave should not be a privilege, but a right that all Americans are entitled to. The Family Act would provide an affordable, inclusive, national paid leave program that covers the full range of caregiving and serious health needs that most families have. It would guarantee workers some pay when they need leave to care for a new child or seriously ill loved one, or to recover from their own serious illness or condition. It's high time that the President and Congress work together to support and pass the Family Act. Thank you.